As lawyers, disclaimers are our friends, so it's prudent to start with this note. My journey from being born and raised a Hindu to learning more about the Christian faith and having a personal encounter with Jesus, the Son of the one true God, has been long. Today, I'm merely giving you a snapshot of the spiritual, racial, and social backdrop I grew up in and how my life has transformed from the moment I really understood who Jesus is and why I needed to follow him. My parents came to this country in 1968. They married, they settled in Hampshire, had my brother and then me. Raised as Hindus to have a basic understanding, but not to embrace the caste system, my mum also included some of the biblical teaching she had received at convent school in Malaysia. Thus, an acknowledgement of God was born at a young age. Conscious that we are a minority, my parents took on English names and gave us English names too. So yes, my real name is really Fiona, which does mean white, or more appropriately, for me at least, fair. Home life to school life couldn't have been more polarised. An altar set up at home with gold idols and pictures of different gods, curry practically every night, which we were raised to eat with our hands, fasting and vegetarian days every week, no eating beet ever, wearing brightly coloured costumes and embellished gold jewellery, for weekly trips to the temple 70 miles away in multicultural London, juxtaposed lessons in the dark grey church, but with beautiful stained glass windows across the road from school in a village perfect for Lewis or Midsummer Murders, wearing the same uniform as everyone else, eating roast dinners with cutlery on a Sunday. Who was I? I knew I was different, and so did the kids in my class. We were different, and our neighbours knew it as well. And so did my parents' colleagues, and they treated us as such. Spitting on food that didn't typically meet the lunchbox fillers, being passed over for promotion, having the outside of our house egged, reinforced our difference and grew in me a hunger to see a fairness in the way people are treated, a namesake for justice, perhaps. Given this backdrop, law was the natural degree choice. However, it was a friend of mine in my French class who started praying for me and then invited me on an Alpha course to learn more about the Christian faith, which played the game changer in my life. Aged 18, I could have rung home and told my parents anything, but to them this was a delight because all paths lead to God, right? You see, Hinduism is a religion which advocates tolerance. It teaches that all religions are different paths leading to one goal, a right relationship with God. It doesn't matter how you follow God, it just matters that you follow him. Unbeknownst to many, Christianity also advocates tolerance, but it is clear on its teaching. Jesus is the only way to God. In John, one of the eyewitness accounts of Jesus' life, we see Jesus is preparing his friends for his upcoming death. One friend, or rather disciple, asks Jesus, how will they know how to follow him to God, his Father? And in chapter 14, verse 6, Jesus answered, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. This challenged everything I knew and had learnt about Hinduism and the life I had led thus far. It took me 8 years in which I grappled with Hinduism and its teaching, finished my law degree, entered the legal profession, and still doubted who I was and what I was worth as I witnessed or was subject to more and more injustice. At that point, I asked my university friends to point me to a local church where I was welcomed into a diverse community and asked to join a Christianity Explore course. And it was on this course, at that church, that I met the person of Jesus and came to know the Father God who gave Jesus to this world. You see, in the pages of this book, the Bible, the one true God reveals himself. When I asked, "Who am I?" this book tells me the answer, God's answer, that he knit me in my mother's womb, that I am fearfully and wonderfully made. When I asked, "Where's the justice?" this book provides the answer, that God is just and fair in all his ways, including how he deals with our wrongdoings. Hinduism and Christianity both teach that as people, we have done, continue to, and will continue to do things that are wrong. They both teach that we need to be held accountable for our actions before our Maker, our God. Whilst Hinduism teaches it's through karma and good works that we can make things right with God, Christianity teaches us that the penalty for all our wrongdoings against God, or what the Bible calls sin, has already been paid by the death of Jesus on the cross, the death of God's own Son. The conclusion I eventually came to was, all religions and teachings can't be right. There must be a right one. That for me has proved to be the Christian faith, and so I had to and continue to place my trust in Jesus as the Son of God. The question is, will you?